Hi there, friends. You're listening to Season 2, Episode 19 of the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. And I just want to take a moment to tell you thank you. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with us here. And thank you for reaching out. We have just been overwhelmed with the amount of support and feedback that you have offered us. And I want to share with you, I want to start doing this on a more regular basis, just sharing some of the reviews that you've been so kind to go and leave for us. This one is from Miss Kimberly Weimer. Says, I love hearing Dakota's heart and Cowgirl confessions. This podcast is real, it's great, and it's really great. Kimberly, thank you so much for taking the time to share that review with us. And if you're listening to this and think about it, please take a screenshot, share it on any of your social media platforms, and tag us in it. We are at the Cowgirl Confessions podcast on Instagram and would just love to hear from you. So on today's episode, I'm catching up with my longtime friend, Nelda Hicks. She's in the Over 50 Club, and she is not letting that slow her down one bit. She has just this zest for life. You can hear it in her voice, and is always continuing to learn new things. I know you're going to enjoy getting to learn more about her, and I hope you leave this episode today just feeling really encouraged to go out and chase your dreams, no matter how old you are, what your circumstances are. I hope this episode encourages you to start. Just start today. You can do it, friend. Hey y'all, and welcome. You're listening to the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm your host, Dakota Dawn Johnson, small-town cowgirl with southern roots, blazing a trail as a Midwest ranch wife, mama, and businesswoman. The mission of Cowgirl Confessions is to share the wonderfully wild and western life stories of cowgirls from all walks of life. We'll talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle. Legendary cowgirl Dale Evans said it best. Cowgirl is a pioneer spirit, a special brand of American courage. The cowgirl faces life head on, lives by her own lights, and makes no excuses. Cowgirls take stands. They speak up. They defend the things they hold dear. A cowgirl might be a rancher, a barrel racer, a bull rider, or an actress. But she's just as likely to be a checker at the local Winn-Dixie, a full-time mother, a banker, an attorney, or an astronaut. If you're into wet saddle blankets, talks with God, buckets full of laughter, and the life lessons learned in the process, kick off your boots and settle in. I pray these stories encourage, empower, and give you just the leg up you need. Here's to embracing the cowgirl state of mind, no matter how wild and western life may get along the way. Hi, friends. Thanks for being here today for another episode of the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. Today is such a treat for me. I'm getting to catch up with a longtime friend of mine. She was a great friend of my mom's, Nelda Hicks. She has been a mentor in my life for as long as I can remember, just a cowgirl through and through. And when I tell you, like, there's not a thing I've ever found that this woman can't do, from making like the best chicken salad recipe to being able to do woodworking or, train phenomenal barrel horses. She can do it all. And she's got a lot of fun things going on. And what I really admire about her the most is that she's a lifelong learner. She's always learning how to do new things and is willing to share that knowledge with people like me. So Miss Nelda, thanks for being here today.
Oh, I am thrilled to death.
I guess we should probably just start off by letting you kind of tell people, where you're at right now, where you and your husband Donnie are located, and then we can kind of work back from there. But y'all are living the life. That's what I want to be doing.
Well, thank you. We are in Florida, and so we're so fortunate just to have a little nice weather and a little rain versus all our dear friends we're worried about out west and everything. But yeah, well, Donnie and I moved down here to Florida for a job change from Alabama, and we lived right there on the Alabama-Georgia line. And I allowed Donnie to continue to team rope a lot more than he's had an opportunity to pass because he was not at home every night. He's in sales. However, it was a bit of a problem for me moving to Florida. I didn't really know anybody, and it's very flat down here, and I miss my hills. But I decided I would just get my horse and start doing some ranch horse competitions, because before I left Alabama, after 45 years of barrel racing, I went into a little bit of stock horse competition in Alabama, and that was a lot of fun, and I was really hooked with that. I came on down here and I met some cutting trainers and some reining trainers and all kind of people that helped me improve my skills. And after 45 years of barrel racing, I needed a lot of help. I had to slow down, sit up straight in the saddle. They had to change my posture and teach me all kind of new stuff that I have learned to really appreciate in these other different equine events. So we've done everything from trail to reining to, oh my gosh, there's so many classes. We rope, we box cattle, we cut cattle, we do all kind of things in this event. And I did it for a couple of years and had the best time. And it was just way fun. Somebody told me and invited me down January a year ago to see Craig Cameron hosting his Craig Cameron Extreme Cowboy Race. And boy, that was fun. The old barrel racer came out in me. I saw everything was on an electric timer. And I took some of the skills that I had learned, and I felt like that's what I needed to do, because these people were running through water, jumping over jumps, roping, doing all kind of crazy stuff, all on a timed event. And I thought that was like the best thing ever. So I competed last year, learned a bunch, flew out to Texas to watch the world finals that I actually had qualified for, to see what I'd be up against. So my goal this year is to once again qualify for the world and go out there and see if I can represent the state of Florida. But it is a fun thing, and I'm really having a great time.
Oh, that's just so exciting. And like you said, there's so much that you've been able to learn. And I mean, you're one of the greatest horsewomen I know. And to hear you say that there was still more for you to learn after all those years of, being a barrel racer and training horses that were, just winners. I mean, you are a hand, and to hear you say that, it's like, man, we can always learn something new or improve a skill. And when is that world competition that you're looking to qualify for, Miss Nelda?
It's about in October, if I remember correctly. And it was a lot of fun. It was out there in Granbury, just right outside of Granbury. So it was just a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to it, because I am a lot bolder this year than I was last year. And, I went to some competitions in Georgia and Alabama and South Carolina and got introduced to a lot of this stuff. And really, it is an obstacle competition on a stopwatch. And, you can't just run through there and get it done. Your skill level has to be very high.
So can you tell us about your horse that you're using for this, Miss Nelda?
Well, actually, before I left Alabama, I had bought a little old horse. I just took a chance on a horse that had been ridden by a fella. Did some ranch horse competitions, and I brought him here and just went to riding with some of these trainers. He's just a good old quarter horse. He's one of those done it bred horses. And he has got so much versatility in him. He's got we rope on him. I've calf rope on him. I cut on him. I win ranch pleasure classes on him. He's won confirmation and champion haltership classes. And, he is fearless, which he has to be. He is fearless. So he's been a great horse. And I'm telling you about just lucking out when I found this little horse it's one of those stories that I showed up and the lady said, I can't bridle him. I'm not going to ride him for you. And I said, well, is he going to throw me off or buck or what? And she said, no, I just don't get along with him. And so I threw my saddle on him, and he was a little thin, and I climbed on him. I thought, well, the ground looks pretty soft. Let's see what happens. And I rode him around, and I don't know, something just clicked. And I said, I like this horse. So I bought him. There we went. But I will tell you, anybody can take a horse and compete in this type of competition, but it is fun to learn. And that's something I have really appreciated, riding with these professionals that are so willing to help you if you're willing to learn. And that's probably been the best thing about the whole deal, is I have met some really great people. And I really appreciate learning something new. And listen, I may do this another year or two, and I may go into something else, because that's been one of my joys, is just trying these different equine events and just seeing if I can learn enough and take my little horse, and we just do the best we can and just have a great time and meet all these wonderful people, which is really what it's all about in the end. I like to win as well as anybody, and I always plan on winning or doing the best I can, but I'm enjoying the process of getting to that point now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, with all the different obstacles, do you have one that, you enjoy kind of preparing for and doing more than others? And then do you as well have one that is kind of that one that is a little more challenging for you, that you feel like you have to work a little harder at?
All pretty somewhat standard, but every place is very unique, and you can only prepare so much, because when I went up to South Carolina, this was an outdoor competition. This man had a pond. We had to run into the pond, run around this big anchored tire out there, and then come up through a drainage ditch that you could only see my shoulders. That's how deep it was. And my horse, who's really brave, I couldn't even get him to trot through it. It was so narrow. And the fact that we had 2 days of rain in that red clay there. So, you can only prepare for so much. And then you get to some of these places and we'll go, well, let's see what we can do. And you just go do it, But there's pretty some standard stuff that you can work on, but you never know when you show up. That's why I went to Texas. I wanted to see what was going to be happening out there. And sure enough, there were a couple of things that I thought, man, I don't know if my horse would do it or not, because they certainly throw some stuff at you. But Craig Cameron's done an excellent job putting together this association. And so it's real challenging. It's real challenging. And, there's different divisions, and you just go in the one that suits you best at this time. But I just keep roping the cattle and roping the dummies and working on my side pass and backing up and just getting my horse really broke and being able to communicate with your horse. That's what it comes down to. And I don't care what event it is. If you can communicate with your horse, and it's up to us to be the steady person to get it done, our horses will generally try their very best for you. And so, I practice the standard stuff, but they try to throw stuff at you, and you just got to live through it.
Well, I have never known you to back down from a challenge. And whenever you were just sharing about really being able to communicate with your horse, there's one of the gals we've had on the podcast already, Burleson. For those of y'all listening, go back and listen to episode 7. But Camille actually bought one of Miss Nelda's horses that, when I think of you, Miss Nelda, I think a rooster. And he just an outstanding barrel horse, and one of those that really just loved his job. And so do you have just any insight you can share with us on, it's one thing to be able to communicate with your horse, but anything you feel like you do differently, or maybe you've changed over the years as you've learned more, that really helps a horse love what they do?
Yeah, I think so. I think I have learned personally, because it's not really the horse, it's what we do. And we got to really realize it's not the horse. We have to learn to communicate with these horses. And yes, I have watched these people that are succeeding in different things. I've watched a lot of these clinicians out there, and I've listened to a lot of these trainers. I mean, really listen to them, and they'll tell you how to ask your horse to do some things. And if you are consistent every time, and just take your time, because every horse is an individual. And they are so willing to do what we want to do if we will just be patient with them. and just be consistent, I have found that these horses come along so much faster and do so much better for all of us if we'll just slow down, just absolutely slow down, take your time, and teach these animals what it is we want them to know. I have made every mistake 10 times teaching horses how to do something wrong. Yeah, 10 times wrong. And I can't imagine some of the horses I've had in the past, how much better I would have been, I think, if I'd just had the knowledge. But that's what we do. We get smarter as we get older. So one thing I could tell people is find somebody that's a winner, that has consistently winning horses, and go to them. And you are so much further ahead to spend the money and go learn how to work with these horses with a professional that does a great job and is consistent winner, and that you get along with. And that's the best advice I can give anybody. Don't try to learn it on yourself. Don't listen to all your friends. Go find a great trainer and spend your money there, and you are so much further ahead.
So good. Such great advice there, Miss Nelda. And you've had so many different experiences over the years. I mean, with horses, but then also, I want to step outside of that a little bit. And I mean, you've got so many different, I guess you'd call them hobbies, things that you know how to do. And now that you moved to Florida, you shared with me earlier that you're a kayaking fool, you get after it. You love being outside, and not everybody's just willing to go try something new. That's something that's pretty unique, I feel, about you. You just step into it and figure it out. And have you always been like that and wanting to try new things, or where do you think that kind of came from?
No, I have. I've always been that way. And there's a couple of things that I contribute to that. My mother and dad, introduced me to stuff. And then I was around the right kind of friends. I was around these cowgirl people that we're talking about. And I'll tell you, you get around those kind of women in your life, those kind of people, and they are so willing. Let's go do, let's go try. And I've always said, I'll try anything, and I mean it. And the people around me, they know it. I will try anything. I may fail at it, but I have not failed if I tried. And I never, ever want to look back and say, I wished I had. So, I love going out and trying new things, and, and going to places, and I love to learn. And, and even coming down here, I've told my friends here, I drugged my lip for about a year when I got down here, because I missed all my friends, everybody that you and I grew up with, and doing all the things that we used to do and everything. But I finally, I finally said, okay, let's have fun here. And I met some great girls, and I've been kayaking these rivers, and with the gators and the manatees and all that sort of thing. So I do welcome the new experience that Florida's brought me, and I look forward to whatever's down the road for us. And, it's just fun. I never understand people that say, oh, you've got a real exciting life. And I just want to go, you can too. Get off the couch, go do something. There's so much fun out there. And it doesn't have to be horse related. Just get out, enjoy the world, and enjoy the people. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
I've always just kind of looked to you as being that person that you just don't settle, and I think that ties back into always learning how to do new things and pushing yourself. But I mean, for long before Jennifer Nettles came out with that country song, I ain't settling, that you were living by that, Miss Nelda. And so I get a lot of encouragement sometimes when I think about, well, where I'm at and where I want to go. And, things might be okay, but if they're not where I really want them to be, then by George, I better not settle. I need to be more like Miss Nelda and, be working toward that next thing. And, you've had lots of different jobs over the years. I remember, at one point you had a Western store, and you and my mom kind of did a joint deal where we'd set up at the Coliseum and other events with her tack store, and then after that you managed Roosevelt Stables. And did you ever have one that was just your favorite that you felt like you walked away just really kind of missing that experience?
Yeah, the Western store thing, that was really fun. But the best job I had really was managing the stables there for the state of Georgia. And I'll tell you, the reason I liked it is I had the ability, along with my staff, to take a day that these people were going to come and they were going to rent our horses and we were going to take them up through the mountains. And they thought it was going to be a great day, and we made it better than they ever had an opportunity to believe it could be. And being able to make somebody happy every day when we, those years that we were there, and to be around horses and being out in, the beautiful, Pine Mountain, Georgia, near Callaway Guards and all that. That was just like the best job ever in this world. And hated to give it up, but I didn't show a horse for 2 years because I was working all the time. But what a great opportunity that was. And, when I was younger, you mentioned I had a lot of jobs, and I really have. I've always thought, well, I wish I had been one of those people that just knew what they wanted to do when they got out of high school or college. And I got out of college and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. But now I so appreciate all those experiences that I have. I would have never met all these people that I've met and done all the things that I've done. So it's just been a blessing, just a real blessing to have this kind of, gypsy life. I don't know what you call it, but as far as settling, I think the thing is sometimes we get really comfortable and we just go with the flow, and we just do what everybody else does. And sometimes we think, well, this is our life, and this is the way it's going to be. And I've never felt like that. I've always thought, well, if you don't like what you're doing, do something about it. So I've really enjoyed my life. There's very few things I can look back on and say that I wished I had not done, or something like that, because I've really appreciated the opportunity that I've had to do all the things that I've done. And I always encourage people, and they go, oh, I just don't know how you do all that stuff. I said, well, just go do it. Just go do it. So not everybody's hardwired like that, but I encourage everybody to try to be.
Oh man, you're always up for an adventure. And I tell you, I've got so many, just good memories with you in them. But one of my favorites, and I couldn't have been, I was maybe 10 or 11. And I remember it was the first time that I got to go with you and my mom. And I don't remember exactly if it was you going to get a horse or her going to get a horse, but basically we were making this big one-day trip to go somewhere, either in North Georgia or something. And so we came to your house, and I was so excited that I got to go. And it was going to mean that we got back to Alabama, well after midnight. And so we're headed back, and we ran a toll booth because we saw that the Dunkin' Donuts had fresh donuts. The sign was turned, and you were driving. And so we go through the toll booth and then get turned back around. You're like, we can't miss those fresh donuts at midnight. And as a 10 or 11-year-old, I just thought, now this is what the cowgirl life's about. I'm here for it. I am here for it, and I don't ever want to be away from it. And it was just, right then and there, I thought, yeah, this is the kind I want to be around and want to be when I grow up.
Well, I'll tell you what, your mom, Pam, and I had a lot of fun. And there's no telling. We went on so many trips, but yeah, we always had the best time coming and going. It was just, it was great. I'm like you. There's just so many great memories, and bless your heart. Sometimes I treated you like I was your other mom too. So
I turned out okay, I think.
Yeah, you did. We had so much fun, and but it's all, like I said, it's all just great memories, just wonderful, wonderful memories. And I'm glad that one was, I'm glad that one kind of, maybe impressed upon your life to do some fun stuff too, but gosh, you've really I'm going to brag on you just a little bit because I have known you forever. You've achieved so much, and I don't think that's even a drop in the bucket to what's ahead for you. And you're a cowgirl type. If there's a type 1, you are it. And so there's so many fun days coming up for you and all this wonderful future you're going to have. But you had a great mom and a great little life growing up, and there you go. That's the start. That was the seed that was planted.
Yeah, I so appreciate that, Miss Nelda. It means a lot coming from you. And I think as I've gotten older, and now that I've got a son, and we have a baby on the way, our second one. It didn't really occur to me until I got older and I was around some people that not everybody necessarily grows up getting to call their parents' friends their friends. And I now that I'm in this chapter, I'm like, man, that's important. And it's something definitely to think about. But I feel like, just like you said earlier, when you have that certain group of women in your life, or or men, or whatever, those cowboys and cowgirls that are just kind of wired in a certain way, that happens naturally because they just kind of become family.
Absolutely lifetime, no matter where you live. It is a lifetime connection, and that alone is that's just a blessing. I mean, just beyond words, that's just a blessing. And the people that you and I know together, we still, we may not see each other for years, but we're still friends and we're still there for each other. And just having those connections are just the best part of the whole cowboy lifestyle, cowgirl lifestyle. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. Now, something that I have not gotten to see you do in person yet, and it is on my bucket list, is, you're also you can sing. And so I want you to share with us a little bit about kind of how that came about, how you started singing, and maybe what if you're doing any of that right now with any friends.
Sure. Just everybody kind of grew up playing around and singing and listening to stuff. And I took it just a little step further. I started taking guitar and took a little bit when I was younger, and a little bit of piano and different things. But through the years, it was off and on, very off and on. But then later on in life, around my 30s, I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick that guitar back up. And I did. And I started playing, just with some friends and that sort of thing. And then played in a little cowboy church band there in Auburn, and just around with a few folks, just picking and grinning, really nothing big. And but when we moved down here to Florida, I had just bought a mandolin and started learning how to play that. So when I got down here to Williston, which, by the way, we moved to Williston because they had a cowboy church. So I went up there and played my mandolin and played in the band there. And then joined two ladies down here and started doing a little cowboy music and a little 50s music. We kind of had two different outfits, a 50s look, and then we had some cowgirl look for some cowgirl music. And life kind of got in the way right there. So we didn't get to do that as long as we wanted to. So I've decided that my retirement plan is I'm going to find me a couple of ladies with similar interests. And I think we need to have I'm going to say, older 60ish lady swing cowgirl band. I think it would just be the most fun thing ever. And so, I keep playing along, but I'm looking for my girls. And I'm going to start another chapter in my life, and I think we'll be touring. I'm quite sure that whether we're good or not, we'll have more fun than anybody out there. So I'm really looking forward to that next chapter of my life.
Heck yeah. And hey, if you're listening out there and you want to be part of this swing band, cowgirl swing band with Miss Nelda, I'm going to have how you can get in touch with her in the show notes. And so you make sure and reach out. I'm not trying to be y'all's agent, but if I can help somewhere in the middle, I'm happy to do it. I think that would just be
Absolutely.
the coolest thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, well, listen, hey, I'm telling people life starts at 60. I'm telling you, it is. I'm having more fun right now in that decade of my life. It's just all fun. It's all fun. But no, I just really do enjoy doing a lot of things. And so I always encourage people, just try it. I taught a free guitar class here at our church, and people said, I can't play. And I said, who told you you couldn't? They said, well, I just can't. And I said, well, who told you you couldn't? And I said, you come with me. And so about 30 minutes, I had them just doing a little bit of something. And so I encourage everybody, don't ever wish you had tried something. Just go do it. Just go do it. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to go out and try stuff.
It's one of the things that makes you you, and that I love about you. Now, over the years, I know you, just like myself and so many listening, we've had to just piecemeal stuff together with duct tape and hay string and bungee cords or whatever we could find. That's just how it is sometimes. So I want to know, what's the wildest thing you've ever had to just kind of fix with those tools, Miss Nelda?
Well, I had a tailgate fall off and ran over it with the trailer. And so, after we figured out something had happened, we pulled over, went and got the tailgate, came back, because we couldn't lay it on top. The bed of the trailer was so full of stuff. We had to tie it on the back, and apparently we didn't get one side tied real good. So about 5 miles down the road, then one end fell down on the road. It was making quite a noise. And so we had to go back and retie that. And it was a comedy of errors that particular night. It wasn't funny at the time because it was about 2:00 in the morning. I think we were coming back from Fort Payne, Alabama. And, but anyway, we got home and just laughed about it because, what are you going to do with a tailgate if you can't put it in the bed of the truck? We had so much crap in there. So, we had it tied on with everything, a halter, lead rope, whatever we could do. But it worked and it got us back. But I felt like my whole life's been like that. It's always something, but that's okay because anybody in this lifestyle can fix anything with duct tape and a hay string.
That's right.
Absolutely. It is.
Well, it sounds like, just in that instance alone, you were really embracing that cowgirl state of mind. And, that's what this podcast is all about, just sharing that whole concept with those of us that need reminding sometimes how important it is, as well as the women that haven't had the opportunity to grow up around horses and cowgirls. And so I ask everybody, Miss Nelda, that comes on the podcast, what is the phrase cowgirl state of mind? What does that mean to you?
Well, I'll tell you, I had to think about 2 or 3 people that are really my stronger cowgirl friends. And what I like is a person that has a real confident sense of self. They're not afraid to stray from the crowd and just real strong convictions. And I really admire people like that. That's the people that I hold at the top of the ladder. Just a real strong conviction of right and wrong and true and false. And I admire those people. I really do. It takes a lot of strength sometimes to go your own way, but you should always do that. You should never go with the crowd if you feel like you need to do something different. So those are the people that I look at. They're really something. I'm glad they're my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so much. I mean, that's got cowgirl state of mind all over it. It sure does. Well, Miss Nelda, I've so enjoyed, getting to visit with you today, and I can't wait till we can, connect in person, in the flesh. Hopefully, in 2021. But for everybody that's listening and maybe that wants to reach out and connect with you for, for joining the band or learning more, kind of about horsemanship or how they can come watch you at some of these, competitions, how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, sure. Listen, Nelda Hicks at Gmail is probably one of the easiest ways. And love to hear from anybody. Come on, girls that play musical instruments, let's get together. It'll be a lot of fun, I guarantee you.
Absolutely. Well, Miss Nelda, thanks again. Give Mr. Donnie a hug for me, and we'll talk soon, okay?
I'll do it, sweetie. Love you. Take care.
All right. Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for spending your time with me on the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm so glad y'all stopped by. If you could take a moment to share this episode and tag us on social media, I'd be happier than a cowgirl in a sea of buy one, get one vintage turquoise. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode. New episodes will be released bi-monthly. Please leave us a review if you feel so led by going to iTunes. Your feedback will really help us breed the idea of grabbing life by the horns with a cowgirl state of mind into women across the globe. Some that may have never even had the privilege to throw their leg over a horse, but could most certainly use the cowgirl state of mind while navigating life. Thanks again, y'all. Until next time, keep pursuing your dreams with that all go and no woe mentality. Remember, you're writing a story that's worth saddling up for, sister.